Her most famous book is a book called Eichmann in Jerusalem, about the trial of Adolf Eichmann. It was originally written as a series of essays for the New Yorker magazine, and it caused quite a controversy. Although she doesn't think it caused the controversy because she thinks the controversy had nothing to do with her book. And she says that it was her experience of this controversy that led her to write this essay. And she identifies two issues in that footnote. She says, first, it made me ask the question, is it always legitimate to tell the truth? I already told you what her answer is. She says yes. This comes up because she says some things in that book which everyone knows are true, but that a lot of people, including a lot of Jews of her generation, and she was a Jew, of course, she was a Holocaust survivor, thought shouldn't have been said. And she says, I think it is right to tell the truth. You should never be punished for telling the truth. And then the second issue that she says is that it caused her to reflect on the controversy about lies about what she had written and lies about facts she had reported. Now, lies about what she had written and lies about the facts that she reported. Basically, what she says is that the controversy had nothing to do with the facts of what she said or of what happened. She went to the trial of Adolf Eichmann and simply observed him. And one of the things she said is that he was like a pretty normal guy. He was banal. If there was anything distinctive about him, she said, it's that he just seemed unable to think. He spoke in cliches. He spoke in stock phrases. And so she said, what was amazing is that here was this guy who did this unspeakable evil, the worst act in the history of Western civilization, potentially. A huge part of it, or at least a big part of it. And he seemed pretty normal. And she said there's a way in which evil is banal. And people went nuts. Why? Well, she thinks that people went nuts because if they were to accept her reasoning, they would see no reason why everyone else would do what Eichmann did. Right? Some of you have heard the Milgram experiments, where people are asked to apply shocks to act. People, it turns out, are actors, but they don't know this. And the researchers keep telling them to apply the shocks higher and higher, and the actors are like buzzing around, looking like they're going to die. And the people keep applying the shocks when they're told to, and the researchers say, don't worry, it's okay, just doing it. And the people keep applying the shocks. Well, the Milgram experiment gave a lot of support to this view that most people, or many people, would do what Eichmann did if they were told to, and if it was what everyone else was doing, and they believed the authorities over them were good people. Arendt says, I never meant that, and I never said that. All I said is, it's what Eichmann did. Everyone, and that, she says, is a fact. Everyone else assumed, I must mean that's what I think everyone would do. And she says they probably assumed that because that's what they would do. But that's not a fact. And to say Eichmann must have been a monster, she says, is to take a theory and insist that the facts meet the theory and not the other way around. And so what she says is that we need to think about something very hard that the controversy over her Eichmann book brought forth, which is the fact, and now we're talking about a fact, that we live in a world without truth, that facts are ignored, that images replace facts, that spin replace facts, that there's no way to establish facts today, that the image makers have won. And this brings us to the fifth part of the essay, which I know you're reading for Language and Thinking, where she says that what we need to do is take seriously the fact that today there are no truth tellers. There are no people today who can stand up and say, I'm going to tell you the truth, and be believed. Why are there no truth tellers today? Because everybody is seen as interested, as political. Well, who were the truth tellers? Well, they come from different areas of life. They come from arts, the novelists. They come from academics, the scientists. They come from sometimes historians, scholarship, people who are supposed to simply tell you what is in different ways, show you the world. And what she says is everybody has now been implicated in politics. And once everyone is implicated in politics, the solitude of the philosopher disappears. Public institutions like colleges or universities, public or private, but institutions for the public good, are no longer refuges of truth, but are simply politicized environments. And this is largely what's happened. And what Arendt says is, if we can't really stop it, but what we need to encourage, what we need to in some way incite, are a few people who are willing to pull back from politics and live apolitically. And we need this in order to save politics. She says, the political realm recognized that it needed an institution outside the power struggle, in addition to the impartiality required in the administration of justice. Politics needs institutions outside the power struggle. And that's where the truth teller is going to take their stand. Where today is the truth teller going to come from? Well, the traditional answer has been colleges, universities. So what is a college education today? What are the liberal arts? One answer is that college is a place where you escape from the world, the ivory tower. Another answer is college is a place where you come to engage in politics. You fight, you get politicized, you join groups, you get political battles, you join clubs, you act in college very much like you'd act in the world when you're fighting for political interests. Arendt's view is neither, and both. To think what we are doing is what she says we need to learn, and what colleges can teach us. To engage with the world, and yet do so from afar. She called herself in a letter she once wrote, a stranger from afar. She also called herself a conscious pariah. Someone who consciously chose to make herself a pariah, someone who doesn't fit in, who stands outside of society and of conventions, who separates oneself from the world in order to have the ability to look at it honestly and to see it for what it is, and thus to be able to say what it is. And so, as you go through 4 years of Bard, recall at least one definition of what you should try and strive to attain here at a liberal arts education. To learn how to say the truth. The first step on that path. The first step on the path to the recognition of how to say the truth is how incredibly difficult it is. So thank you.